So guys, this is the first malware where we'll be looking at. This malware is called time loop movies malware. So as the name suggests, it was sent by the bot from Telegram, and this bot this is a spyware. It tracks all your SMS from sender to receiver, and all the contents inside and the phone numbers, all the contact details will be sent to the host network, and all these things. In this video we'll be looking at how to decompile this APK and then find what this malware is really up to, and we'll be looking at how to mitigate all these things and so on. So let's get right into it. For those who are wondering what distro I'm using a distro called Remnux, which is known for its all known for containing all the malware analyzing tools and requirements. So let's get started. First, we will take the MD5 hash of the time loop movies app, and then we will paste it on a. Then we will create a readme.txt file, and then we will open it. In this video, we'll be using all the tools that are inbuilt within the Remnux, so no installation is required, no additional installations is required, and we're looking at what are the things that what is an APK and what is a text file and what are the APK files, what are the contents inside the APK files, and we'll be decompiling all those things. So yes, so let's copy it, and will be MD5 some. So why this thing is required is that the first thing that you should take all these hashes, because it creates a fingerprint of the file, so that if anything if any misconfigurations or if any things that happen, it can be used to detect. Okay, now first let's look at what is an APK file. So an APK is nothing but it is a format. It is a type of zip file which contains all the metadata, all the things that an Android app requires. It's just a zip file for Android app. Okay. For those who are wondering, an Android app uses an compiler called Dalvik compiler, which is which is built specifically for Android OS. Uh, Android is an Linux thing. Linux is built on Linux, so they will be using a Dalvik Dalvik virtual machine compiler. Okay, so an APK file is an archive format similar to zip files. It contains multiple files and metadata in them. APK files are also a variant of Java archives. So most of the APKs contain Java files in them, and Java files contains and Java files like um, jar files, var files, .log files, and then .class files, and all these things will be present inside APK files, and we'll be looking at it. And yeah, the next thing is as it's just a zip file, you can just rename it to zip file. For those who are looking at how to rename using terminal, an mv is a command that can be used to move the files from one directory to another, and also it can be used for renaming things. So first of all, we will create an copy image of this, so that we don't work on or affect any kind of anything on the real APK file. And okay, so as as a APK is just a zip file, we'll be just decoding, renaming it to zip file. So if you run file command on time copy, it's just a zip pack already. So now we'll be unzipping this folder into a new folder called malware. For that, we'll create a file folder malware, and then we will unzip the directory into the yes, fine. Okay, so now if we go to malware directory and find all the resources inside the malware directory. So if you wanted to get it, and these are the folders that is present inside the APK file. So this is the thing is that, so what is an Android manifest? So we'll be looking at what is an Android manifest file, assets, class.dec, Kotlin, and all these things. So what is an Android manifest file? .xml file. So Android manifest.xml file is nothing but it is an outline of the it's just a front end and the displaying thing for an Android app. So if we open it with the Firefox something, you can't open it because it is decompiled into an Android application, an Android XML file. So if you want to decompile it, we need to use other tools like um, Android Studio and all these things. So we'll be looking at it in the next video. And text file, we'll be shortly looking at what is a text file, and lib file. Lib file is really important because it tells you what is the architecture of the Android phone that is designed for. So here we'll be here mostly to done using most of the time it will be like a ARM64 architecture because it is a common architecture for an Android, and ARM EABI v7a architecture. So if we look at it as file, it contains all the libso files mm, for the contents of inside. So there's nothing big that will be dealing with it right now. And this is a really important file where it contains all the layout things, fragments, interpolls. As you can see here, it contains all the drawable things and all these meta manifest files contents. And Android X is nothing but it's really an important thing that we'll be looking at if you are to create an Android app. So if you open it with a look at this, is just an manifest file where the build files of the app is created. So app metadata version is 1.1, and the Android app Gradle is nothing but it is mm, uh, it is just a compiler which compiles the Kotlin or which compiles an Kotlin or Java code into a Dalvik virtual machine understandable way. So here they used 7.0.4 version of the Android Gradle, and this is really important. So we need to know what is the current Android Gradle that is used. So if you look at it, what is the current Android version, current Gradle version Android Studio. So now it's 8.3. The 8.3 is the current thing, and 7.0.4 is something which is older. So we'll be looking at it, what are the things that can be done. And now let's get into the what is a text file. So here we'll be looking at what is an text file, and this is a beautiful article, beautiful answer written by Mr. Andrew T. So here it is. So text file is one of the most remarkable feature of the Dalvik virtual machine, and what it does is it's convert the Java code, Java or Kotlin code into an Dalvik virtual machine understandable bytecode. As everyone knows, Java compiles the code into the bytecode, and not like an actual compiler does, as a normal compiler converts that into a machine readable code, like assembly language and so on. Okay, so Dalvik and Android programs are compiled into DEX files. So DEX stands for Dalvik executable files, which are in turn zipped into a single file on the device. DEX file can be created automatically, translating the compiled applications written in Java programs and so on. So guys, this is really important. And DEX file format. So what are the things that the DEX file contains? Is it creates a mind map of what are the important features that the DEX file should have, and what are the things that can be done by using these formats. And this is the thing. So file header, string table, class list, file field table, method table, class definition table, and so on, and all these things. So if we look at the file header, so we will be using XSD and XSD to look at the file headers. So classes.txt file. So we'll use a less command to make it a readable thing. So look at this. So this is the file header of the text file, and text file, and every app contains an file header. So without the file header, you will not be knowing what the computer will not know what is a file, that what file it needs to, what is the type of file that the kernel needs to load into the memory, and what is the thing that requires to run this files, and so on and so forth. So if we look at the file headers, so each file headers. So file header then contains identifying information about the file and possible metadata. So as it said earlier, so if you look at what is an if you look at an exe file, it contains a file header of mm, P of MDZ file, MZ format, so 4D 5A. So this is a file format of an exe file. So this and then if you run strings on that strings on the exe file, you'll be getting, and this executable cannot be run on MS-DOS mode. So these are the headers and metadata that exe file should contain, so that it can be identified as an exe file, and we run on that. So this is a file header, and then all these things is string table, and so this is a string table that will be that is required, and then it contains all the class list, the since Java is a object-oriented language, all the class names will be placed in the class list, and then a field table, method table, class definition table, and a field list. These tables are required in order to call the functions that are functions from the functions when they are called, as this will be the mapping of the function that is residing in the memory. Yeah, that's it. So local variable list and so on. So dex files are similar to Java class files, but they were run under the Dalvik virtual machines. This is really important. Dex files can be run only using the Dalvik virtual machines, and cannot be run on any other file formats. So that's why you can see that an APK file cannot be run on iOS or a Linux machine, and so on. So that's why you will be using an Android simulator, like an Android Studio, or we'll be using ADB devices to connect our Android app to a computer in order to run these files. So this can be decompiled using a jar file and jar class files, so that we can be analyzing, and that's what we'll be doing in this video. So as a basic form of analysis, we'll be running strings on a classes.txt file. So if you look at this, we'll be like you'll be getting some kind of an string format, as this is not obfuscated. As these are the basic class functions are not obfuscated, it's likely that it will be still present on the bytes things. So if you run XSD, will be getting the same thing, but here it will be in a more readable manner. So looks like it uses an RSA encryption technique to encrypt the file contents, so that it looks a little authentic to the Android antivirus manager. And looks like it's kind of it's just a basic, all the basic required things um, for a Java application. And so if we are just moving up. So as we have a little overview on what the malware is really about, we can see that it contains it gets these are the basic things that, like set contents is something that it has it creates an things it sets something to that, sets an attribute, or a set function is called like set on click controller. All these things can be set with the help of all these classes. So it looks like this is all basic classes that is present by default in an Android application. And these are just proxy authentication, proxy connection. So from this we can from this what I can understand is that it creates an connection with a host server, which is commonly called as a C2 server. So C2 stands for command and control server, which can be used to control systems remotely. So mostly it will be on the cloud systems, as it is a little more difficult for tracking. And this is the basic connections. So sure, as we said earlier, this is connecting to a C2 server. So from this we can it gets sure that it connects to the C2 server. So look at this. The socket factory function is something that is used to connect to the server on the internet. And the TLS connection is something that TLS is used as an encryption standard for encryption connection for sending the package. And so network and all these things. So here the one of the most important things is it does something, but we don't know what it sends to the internet, right? So if we move further ahead, um, this is just a rabbit hole, guys. You can't just think about what is the thing that happens, and it just the list gets more on. So has visibility. These are just the basic functions. And if you look at the import files thing, so these are the function table. So these are the functions that is present inside an APK file. So this refers to the function table. And as we looked at the Dalvik file formatting, these are the function table contains functions present in the function list. So one of the most important we have got into the point that where the most important thing is see. Okay, so what it does is it look at the thing, the android.intent.action, android.media.action, android.permission. These are permissions are really important thing, because if it grants you Android app has the permission to grant access to all these hardwares present inside your mobile phone. So if you look at this, if you're just looking at it, access location, access camera, and so access camera, and then time zone, obviously time zone, and then it also uh, requests to ask the web search, and then a language, mobile phone language, and then what is a process it's running, process things, and all these things. This is just a this is just an awful thing for for user to get into. You can't just give all the permissions to an app that is really unknown, right? But most of us does without even hesitation. So we just install an app from Telegram websites and all these things. And these are the security features. These are the security mechanisms that we need to look at. Just installing an Android app can make this and more difficult. So if you look at the things like language encoding and charset, accept charset, all these things, it's definitely giving some kind of request on the internet. And this is just a class table, so present in the class list, and these are the warnings that are present in the exe file, apk files, and yeah, that's it, guys. So with the help of basic string analysis, we got an overview of what this app really does and what other things, but we still have no idea on what it's sending to that host server. So we'll be decompiling this app in just a moment.